start on time. Guys, thank you for making it in here. You are in for a treat today. At the team meeting, I was talking about the accomplishments of this year for the Houston Properties team. Let me give you the last 3 years because we had some real bad years these last couple of years. In the last 3 years, this team that you're about to listen to did $547 million in closings. $500 million, more than $500 million just in the last 3 years. And we had our worst year in one of those 3 years. So when you look at real estate is not a sprint. It's not, I get a deal and I'm done. It's a continual progression of lead generating, lead follow-up, and closing. Lead generate, lead follow-up, and closing. So with that, hopefully we're going to get into what that's going to look like. I believe we are based on some of the notes I saw. This team is very well prepared for you today, and they're not getting paid to do this. That's what's so great about this company. They're doing it because they're servant leaders out of the goodness of their heart to share with you so that they can give you some of the nuggets. Take advantage of this. Now, the number one question I get the last few days and over the next week will be, how do I get to be a part of this? Believe it or not, you can. Courtney, you were an agent in the office and you became part of the group. It's not easy. You've got to be good. You don't have to be a massive seller to get to be a part of the referral program, but you have to have your stuff together because they are always getting leads and they're always pushing those out to good agents. Their team can only handle so many. So the opportunity is there for you. They're going to go through what it takes to be a part of the team, but just know that that opportunity is there to be a part of the referral program. What you should be focusing on is, how do I implement these strategies into my business so I can see improvement this year, this month, this week? Paige, thank you so much for doing this for us. Courtney Williams, Aaron Daly, and Brittany Coyle, you guys have been so generous with your time, and I'm excited to hear what you guys have got to say. Congratulations on your success, and thank you.
Can y'all hear me okay? I'm probably the least technically savvy person in this room, so I'm expecting technical difficulties at some point, or maybe just falling out of my high heels since I have COVID feet and I'm still learning how to wear them. Real quick show of hands. We always like to start with a presentation to kind of understand where you guys are in business. How many of you have been in real estate, not just Keller Williams, but in real estate for less than 3 years? A lot of you guys. All right. How many of you been in the business 3 to 5 years? All right. More than 5. Got it. More than 10. All right. More than 15. Woo! Those where the OGs are right there. Those are my people. I love it. I love it. Well, we appreciate you guys coming out, and hopefully we're going to be able to give you some wisdom today. How many of you are familiar with the Houston Properties team and our story? Most of you guys are, so I don't need to go through that. Anybody not know our story? All right, here's the quick recap. I've started my career in real estate in 2000, and in my first year, I sold 1 home. When Michael says real estate is a marathon and not a sprint, he means it. This last year, we sold $150 million worth of transactions, helped families, and have a team of 10-ish agents, all who do on average 10 million or more. So we have really worked hard to build an organization to help our clients live the life they want to live and create long-term wealth. We are passionate about clients first, and that we believe is really one of the anchors to our success. But before we talk about what we want to talk about, wanted to kind of give you a perspective of, since the Grammys were recently on, how many of you know who Michael Jackson is? Well, you laugh, but there's people who don't know what a rotary phone is. So, I mean, there are things that you have to just check on these days. All right. So Michael Jackson, who is known to be the best entertainer of all times. And to be fair, he has sold over 300 million records worldwide. Taylor Swift only has 114 million. So that puts you in some perspective of how powerful he was as an artist. But do you know how Michael Jackson really became Michael Jackson? Because there was one moment in his career that led him from the mentorship and apprenticeship that he had in the boy band of the Jackson 5 to then starting his own career and perfecting his craft. And there's one moment when he decided to have a breakout. And if I'm technically savvy enough, I'm going to try to show this to you. All right. Can we hear it? All right, I'm going to push pause. I told you there was going to be technical difficulties. I'm on mute on that. So while we're working through that, oh, the feedback. Oh. This is like driving in my car. And I'm hearing everything back when you're trying to do the Bluetooth and the client's on the phone and they're like, there's dead silence and you thought you were going to just sneak in and not listen. And they said something really important while you were connecting. I'm sorry, can you say that again? Do you want me to put my mic up to my computer screen? All right. Well, then we're going to just bypass this and move on. So the moment that Michael Jackson becomes Michael Jackson, can we get that feedback off? There we go. Is he's playing the Motown show. He has been nominated for all of the Grammys, but he's playing a Motown show and he does a set with his brothers. And he then has this conversation, says, you know, I love playing those old songs, but I really like the new stuff. And the audience freaks out because they know he's going to play Billie Jean. And he does. And so he does this amazing rendition of Billie Jean. Everybody in the audience is going wild. Everybody on their feet. And then he does the moonwalk. The first time anybody had ever seen it. The moonwalk. That is the moment Michael Jackson became not an artist, not an understudy to the Jackson 5. He became Michael Jackson. So get some feedback. All right, no worries. So the reason I bring that up is because every agent in here, especially those of you who have been doing it for a long time or have had achieved a level of success, has your Michael Jackson moment. Now, mind you, you might not have ended like, woo, that's fine, but we've all had the moment when you decided you were gonna be different than what you were the day before. Everybody who has been successful in real estate has had it. I can tell you I've had it. I can tell you where I was when it happened, I don't know who the people were that I was talking to, but I remember the moment. And the moment that that happened for me, that changed how I practiced real estate because I was no longer willing just to do what I'd always done. So with that, we've got these three amazing agents who are the real rock stars of today, who have had a magical moment and who want to talk to you about what that moment was for them, what their mindsets are going into this year, and then also three tactical tips of how things, of what they would say that you can do to better prepare you, get kind of down and dirty in the nuggets, and then we're going to open it up for questions. I will also tell you that in a shifting market, these three agents had their best years ever, ever. They grew their business, which is remarkably difficult to do. And they did it through their mindset and the fact that they were willing to work their craft. So with that, Aaron, you want to lead us off? Tell us a little bit about you and go through the story.
Hi, everybody. I'm Aaron Daly. I've been licensed for a little over 5 years now. I'm originally from Central Texas, but I've been in Houston for about 12 years. Had a military past. I was also a franchisee for a while, and then I got started into real estate. And defining moment for me was when we were working with an agent. I was really disappointed with our experience. It didn't seem like there was any care for us. And we had been saving for a really long time. $100,000 as a down payment, that was our nest egg. And we felt like a number to this agent that shall not be named. And I think at that moment is when I really decided that this is not how anybody should be treated. Some of these people that we work with save their entire life for this one moment to purchase this one house. And we just wanted somebody to take care of us the way that I think that we needed in that moment. There was really no reassurance that we were making a good purchase. There was no reassurance that we were really getting a good price on our home. And it was just like, you know what? I could do way better than this. And I got my license a couple months later, and I joined the office.
All right. So what is your mindset? Your three top mindsets that you're using that got you through last year and that you're using for this year. And then what are your three top tips?
So mindset, you really need to put yourself in the game of real estate, but also setting goals. And so what we do is we set SMART goals. SMART goal is something that is very specific. It's measurable, it's achievable, it's relatable, it's relevant, right? And it's time bound. And so we set those every quarter for us so that it's easy chunks out of our year to manage. We can always set a goal for the whole year, but you get down a couple of months into the year and it's like, oh shit, sorry. What is that? What is that goal? I can't remember what I was going for. And so if we can break it up into pieces, it just makes it a lot more manageable and attainable. A goal that I have set right now is making at least 10 contacts every single day for 6 days out of the week for the next 90 days. And this is a similar goal that I had set last year so that we could win our year and produce more than I've ever produced so far.
And Aaron's grown his business from 2 million to 12 million, so a 600% return. And you said making 10 contacts a day. So talk us through how that is a SMART goal.
It's smart because we've set it as measurable. It's relatable, and they're in small chunks. So 10 calls a day, that's really achievable. I think just before 9 a.m. I've made 3 calls at least, not counting my mom. But I think 10 is a really easy number for us to get to. Some days I really do 15 or 20. Some days I can only get 5. But I think if I have 10 on my calendar and that's what I'm looking for, at the end of the day, it's really not that difficult. You get to set an air-conditioned office and just make some calls and knock them out.
And how does that relate to your mindset? What is the mindset that you go into if you talked about that sort of a mindset of accountability?
Yeah, so the mindset is, it's really a numbers game to really achieve what you want. If you just set your goal and you work backwards, you can really break it down piece by piece. And that's what I found was 10 calls, really 8 calls, but 10 calls was a really good number, and that will get me to what my goals were that I've established for the end of the year.
What's your next tip?
My next mindset would be just be coachable. I think when I got into real estate, I didn't know a lot, but there's maybe a little ego involved, and you might not really receive feedback well. But you've got to throw that to the side and really take all the feedback that you possibly can. Find a mentor that can really help you along the way. Somebody that you can contact and call and maybe bug just a little bit too much, but somebody that can really devote that time to you to kind of help you grow as a person. Every transaction is different, so you need somebody to bounce those ideas off. And if we can't grow every single day, then it's going to be a tough journey through the year.
I love that. And then your last one in terms of accountability groups.
Accountability groups are great. I think that's honestly what really had propelled me to get to 12 million was, holding ourselves accountable with our team. It started before that though. We had a couple of people in our office I started an accountability group with, and with those agents, we constantly communicated. We were challenging each other to be better every single day, whether that's with how many calls that we made, with how many appointments we could get to for the month. And whenever we had a challenge, we got to talk to each other. We got to vent a little bit and kind of get some of that stress off.
I love that. And talk to us about the tactical aspects of what does an accountability group look like? How many people are too many? How long does it last? What is the agenda? Break that down.
That's a great question because I think your accountability group can definitely be too big. I would say no more than 4, but ideally you want 3. I think 3 is the perfect number. It gives you the right amount of elbows to rub with. And keep it short. It doesn't need to be a long accountability group. It doesn't need to be an hour. What we found is when it's too long, people will end up not becoming accountable anymore because they think like, oh, this meeting is always going to last longer than what I intended, and so I just don't have time for that today. We'll push it on to the next. So keep it short, 30 minutes max. If you can do it 15, great. Have some set goals that you want to talk about every single day so that whenever you're on your meeting, you're ready to go. You can talk about it quickly. And if you have some time afterwards, of course, stay, chit chat, maybe do a little bit of work, but it needs to be very specific, very intentional with your time.
Love that. So an accountability group, which are not hard to set up, hard to follow because it's hard to do what you say you're going to do. And I think what you're going to hear as these folks chat through things, the piece that made us successful, and Gary Keller teaches us this. We're in a small networking group with Gary Keller's top teams. And he says, 100% your relationship to success is tied to your relationship with accountability. Your relationship with success is tied to your relationship to accountability. And I will tell you, these 3 folks are very accountable to what they say they're going to do. And no one in this room is going to say, I'm not accountable. Nobody's going to raise your hand. Of course, everybody feels that they're accountable. But then when you break it down, what does accountable really mean? Does it mean I just say I'm going to do it and then I don't do it? Or do I follow through and push through with those SMART goals and make sure that I'm in that accountability group where we have a set time and a set agenda, and it's not a bitch fest. It is we are here to meet, to talk about, do we do the things that we said we were going to do? So I love that. That's fantastic. All right, Ms. Brittany, you're up.
Okay.
Where do you want to?
Hi, everyone. I am Brittany Coyle. I have been with Keller Williams for about 4 years now and with the Houston Properties team, but I have been a realtor for about 8 years now. I'm 31 years old. I went to Texas State University and I grew up in the Tomball area. For anyone that goes out to the north, to the suburbs, to the farming area, I am from Tomball and grew up there. So that's a little bit of background for me.
And you she's also came to us with about 2 million in production and has moved to 12 million. So another 600% increase in her time with us, which has been over 4 years, 4 or 5 years.
About 4 years now.
So what was the mindset? What was your magical moment?
My defining moment was my decision, my decision to go from 2 million to 12 million was really a pivotal moment in my life. It started at the beginning of COVID. And I wasn't feeling fulfilled with my job. My clients didn't appreciate me. I wasn't growing. I wasn't being challenged enough. I just felt like I needed to make some serious changes if I didn't want to go back to a desk job 9 to 5. So I was presented with an opportunity to interview with the Houston Properties team. And it was basically my now or never moment. Like I had to leap into this unknown and just hope that it landed. But I will say it was more than just a career decision. It was a personal decision too. Like I said, I am a mother, I'm a single mom, and I wanted to secure a better future for my daughter, be able to provide her with some stability and really ensure that I could enjoy what I do for the long haul. So that was my defining moment. And really just surrounding myself with the elite, creating a sphere of people around you to give you a system and support, encouragement, and really shared ambition. We share a lot of that ambition, and I think that that's the most important thing.
I love that. So instead of a desk job 9 to 5, you chose real estate, which is 5 to 10.
7 days a week, yes.
No benefits, no health care, no pension. Yeah, got it.
It's worth it.
It is the
Yeah.
most rewarding career that you can have if it's your
is.
calling and your passion.
Yeah.
So, all right. So what else do you want to tell us?
So I would like to start off with, are we doing tactical or tips?
Let's do either way you want to
The
go.
mindset? Okay. So a little bit about what Erin touched on earlier. Some of my tactical approaches would be setting quarterly goals. I think breaking down your big dreams into these bite-sized pieces makes everything feel more doable and manageable. It helps you minimize the overwhelming feeling into these more manageable milestones. So break that down into quarterly versus yearly. Otherwise, you're just going to get overwhelmed. June's going to hit and you're going to say, oh my God, I've only gotten maybe one thing done. So that would be my biggest thing. And an example of that would be, so my quarterly goals for this year would be getting back into the gym 3 days a week. It can be personal and business related. So getting into the gym 3 times a week, start working towards getting my broker's license that I've been wanting to do for years now. Get at least 3 new listings and then up my calls to at least 85 calls per month. So that's an example of how I set my quarterly goals.
That's excellent because the way you eat an elephant is one bite at a time. So when those yearly goals, if I want to do blah, great, that's cool. How do you start? These smart quarterly goals, measuring against it, goes back to the level of accountability we talked about earlier. And you guys have done a great job with that.
My second tip would be confidence is key, you guys. It's all about the confidence. Some of the ways that I gained, excuse me, my confidence was by investing in my education, my growth, stay consistent with script practices. I know it sounds weird, but script practices will give you that confidence when you're on the phone with your clients. And getting comfortable with hearing and also saying no. I've gotten really good at saying no over the past 4 years, and it has really helped me out with my clients, with my business, because we have an average of 25 to 30 families that we can give our time and attention to every year. And I have gained more confidence in myself, knowing that I get to choose who I get to work with. And by investing in my education, my script practices, my mentorship, I know the right questions to ask on that first initial phone call to be able to determine if I want to work with them, and if they want to work with me too. It's a two-way street. And also learning, how the craft of firing, right? Like you've got to get good at firing those clients that are not a good fit for you. So gain that confidence and the firing is key. Just rip the Band-Aid off, guys. Otherwise you're going to be spending, they're going to suck the life out of you, really.
Let's dive
You wanna
into
get your life sucked out.
let's dive into saying no and firing clients, right? Because everybody's like, wait, you get to fire clients? Heck yeah.
Yeah, we
Heck
do.
yeah. They get to choose their realtor and you get to choose if you want them. Before you sign those paperwork and decide, I'm going to put you under a fiduciary agreement where I put your interests above my own. We need to be aligned. And not everybody is aligned. And that's okay. You certainly don't want to violate any laws in the process. That is not what we're saying. But if somebody is not aligned with your integrity and your ethics and does not value what you do, maybe they are not the right client for you. They may be the right client for somebody else. Somebody else might want to get trampled on. That's okay. It just doesn't have to be you. So talk to us about saying no, because a lot of folks in this room, I'm going to guess, think that customer service is about always saying yes.
Yeah, so I think you can save a lot of headspace and stress on yourself by asking the appropriate questions up front in that phone call. You know, what is their motivation? What are they looking to get? Have they purchased before? What was their experience working with the first realtor that they worked with? What did they like? What did they not like? So asking a series of questions to determine if you guys are aligned on the same page. And if you're not, we always want to be a resource for our clients no matter what, or our leads. So we're not just gonna say, hey, guys, we're not a good fit, you know, go find an agent. If I feel like, oh, this client might work better with Courtney or Aaron, I'm gonna transition that very seamless process and say, hey, you know, I know that I'm not the best fit for you, but I've got a great agent in mind that I think would be a better fit, and I'm gonna connect you right now with them.
Fantastic. What else you got for us?
Well, so Aaron already touched on it, but it kind of goes back to accountability. Truly, that's what we preach here at HPT is accountability. It is crucial. And one of the ways that I do this is by time blocking. Do you guys know what time blocking is? Who does some time blocking out there? Okay, great, good. Well, I think.
Wait, that's the other question. Who doesn't time block?
I didn't want to call anyone out.
Yeah.
So yeah, time blocking, you know, you have more control of your days or weeks ahead. You have time to dive deep into the, you know, more crucial work, pulling comps and so forth. But it also allows you to have a healthier work and life balance, which is hard for us. You know, in the beginning, I remember I was just so hungry. I was staying up till 12 or answering texts at 10 p.m. So you've got to put those guardrails up and have a better headspace. For me, you know, I've incorporated those over the years. It doesn't happen overnight. But you know, my voicemail, hey, any calls after 8 p.m., I'll return the next morning. Sleep notifications on your phone. So you don't have to tell your clients, hey, don't text me at this time. You know, they'll still text you. If it's an emergency, great. I will always respond back. If not, it can wait till the next morning. But yeah, time blocking, it'll boost your productivity. I've got a daughter, so I'm always running around, you know, picking up from school, dropping off, cheer. So I've got to be able to time block appropriately to get in all my calls that I need to win my day, to win my month, and to badge. So that's going to be a crucial part in making yourself accountable.
That's great. I think that's great. Anything else before we go to Courtney?
I think that about does it. Hey, Court.
All right. So I'm Courtney Williams. Can I do the murmur on how long I've been in real estate?
Absolutely.
There's so many faces in this room. Hi, Philip. I think I saw you over there that started with me. I've yes. So I've been an agent for over a decade.
My dad says she's 18, so.
I love her dad. Yeah, it was great. I came from a background of apartments, and then I moved to new construction. And then when you realtors would come and drop off your problem clients with me and then show up 6 months later, I realized I was on the wrong side of the table. But I'm originally born in Detroit. At the ripe age of 3, I told my parents that the cold was unacceptable and we needed to get to Houston immediately. And so that is how I landed here, and I've been here ever since. I don't even remember when I joined the Houston Properties team.
I don't either.
Yep.
7?
6, 7, yeah.
We were talking
Not
about in the
really,
car. We
it's
can't,
just- it's just-
wah, yeah.
Yeah, at this point, they can't get rid of me, so that's fine. I'm just a permanent fixture. I think a lot of you in the room will probably relate to my Michael Jackson moment. I was on the team. I had taken a listing, and I did not understand that being a fiduciary did not mean sacrificing myself, my mindset, my mental well-being, and my ability to help others. So I'd taken a listing, all the red flags. Husband's house, wife wanted to sell it, husband was emotional. An emotional husband is never, ever a good sign. He thought it was worth way more. Wife was like, I don't care, just get us out. But they weren't on the same page, and she did respect him. They didn't take advice well. They didn't want to price it well. They complained about showings. It was a Sunday morning. I will never forget, because the night before we had a showing request come in. I talked to them about it. They clicked yes on their phone, and it was going to happen at 9 a.m. I had a showing at 9 a.m. No problem. I start getting mad, crazy, blowing up my phone text messages. Apparently they had a late night. They wanted to cancel the showing. They couldn't figure out how to do it, blah, 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 blah. I come out of the showing to enraged clients. And I remember going to our team meeting after that. And we had a little like, what do you need? What can we help with? And so I started telling the story. And they're like, well, Courtney, why do you want to keep this listing? And I was like, well, I don't have anything else. I needed this. And they're like, no, if you let it go, if you open your hand and let that go, something can come and take its place. And I let them go. They helped me queue up how to let them go. It's not you, it's me. You deserve more. Here's a great agent for you. Set up all the things. I was terrified. But after that call, the empowerment that I had to say, I'm going to find my people, and those people are going to give me joy and give me life. And my business has never been the same since then.
And she's gone from 4 million to 19. I expected you to moonwalk with that one.
Oh.
I mean,
I don't heal.
Oh,
I
yeah.
have to put on my Robbins to moonwalk.
that's great. Well, that's what the happy hour for after this.
I'll
all right.
moonwalk at the happy hour.
So talk to us about mindset.
So I'm a big workout person, and I've always been a big workout person, and I played tennis in school and college and all of those. So a lot of that translates for me. But I think some of the things that translates for everyone and that you can apply no matter what you've done is consistency. And so when I say consistency, that means show up. Show up when you don't want to show up. Do the activity set. Nothing religious here, but we always say the real estate gods are going to bless you where they choose to bless you. Just because you make the calls over here and you called Diane 26 times and she keeps saying, not today, sweetie. All of a sudden, Susan's going to pop up and say, me. And so you don't know where it's going to come from, but it's doing the activities that you know will generate the business and being consistent in those activities.
That's great. Because how many wants to be consistent and make that call every single time? How many do you call once, maybe? Call them twice, maybe 3? Okay. The sale happens statistically at the 12th touch point. And statistically, from the time they walk into your open house, it's 9 months after that they actually make a purchase. This is a marathon, and consistency matters. Beautifully said. All right, what else?
My next key tip would be confidence. I know Brittany touched on confidence, but I want to add a different layer to confidence because I know I did bold. I've been in your shoes. We all do bold. We're like, these scripts aren't me. I don't like it. There is power in the script practice. Whether you get with a group and you change the script to mirror what you feel like is more current life, there is the ability to say certain words like when a client calls and says, oh, no, I'm just looking, no problem. Most of our clients are just like you. They're about 6 to 8 months away from making a decision. Does that sound about right? Yeah, it does. Now we can have a conversation because I don't expect you to make a decision today, but it's being able to literally pull that out of my tool belt and use that at any point in time. And so the scripts, I mean, I could go on. We're not going to script practice. I know there's somebody in the room that would like to see me script practice, but it's having those scripts because those words are going to come up in situations. And then a seller is going to say something or a buyer is going to say something. You're like, oh, I got the right line. And then you're going to deliver it. And then you're going to see them think. And then you're going to give dynamic silence. Let them think it through and then wait for their response. But you will feel so much better in your appointments and your buyer meetings, meeting with clients in general, just because you know what you're talking about. When you're lost, you can go back to that verbiage that you know works and you've tried time and time again.
Dynamic silence?
That's dynamic silence. People want to fill the space with words because it's uncomfortable. Just like when you're in a buyer's appointment or you're meeting with the seller and they tell you they would like to list their house for $500,000 over the market. Immediately your eyes bulge and you start, instead of just being like 500,000 over or whatever the price is, maybe you mirror it back and just let them sit because they're going to think about it. And so being comfortable with the silences to either show that you're thinking about what they're saying or to give them an opportunity to process.
Yeah, and that's what the confidence you're talking about, right? With that level of confidence is that you don't feel like you have to, they're not talking, so I'm nervous. And so now I need to make sure I'm finding something else to say. And what am I going to say? And I'm just going to give words and that is not confidence. Sitting and letting them be with their thoughts and having dynamic silence and listening to where your clients are that will push you towards a place that give them the confidence to hire you.
And part of that dynamic silence is talking less. My goal in my appointments is to talk 20% of the time. It's not my presentation. I want to get to know you. I want to know what your goals are. So the more you talk, the more I ask questions and you tell me more, the more I can get to your motivation and the more I can see, are we aligned? If your goal is, I'm an investor and I just want you to run around and look at properties and da-da-da-da-da, and I don't care, we're not aligned. But if your goal is, this is important for me, my family, I have a child with medical needs and we need to move to a better neighborhood so that way my family can support us. Those are the kind of people that I'm like, I want to help you and I'm happy to be in that boat with you.
Awesome. Awesome. What else?
My last tip, and I brought it with me, do not judge me, all you young people who do not type their things. I do this at the end of the day. It's a plan. I think you are nothing without a plan. Hope is not a strategy. Nobody? No. Obama? Okay, no.
Yeah.
So I do a daily priority list. This is mine from today. I know you can't really read it. At the start, I actually plan out from the time that I have to hit the gym, walk my dog, come back, stretch, blah, 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 to get into my day. So all of that's mapped out. So I know when I need to go to bed. I put in my appointments, I put in my big rocks, and then I put in my sand.
Ah, big rocks and sand. How many know what this is about? Not everybody does. Okay.
No, okay, this is life-changing. Okay, I'm so excited. Okay, so big rocks. Big rocks apply to not just your day, they apply to your quarter, they apply to your year, and they're your whole life. So big rocks are the big things that you want to tackle. So like when you're looking at your year, maybe your big rocks are your vacations, right? Because you need time off, because otherwise this business will kill you. So you put in your big rocks there. For me, my big rocks on my daily plan are the things that have to happen that day in order to keep my business going. So my big rocks for today was I had to do an amendment on a listing. I have to get a public description written, and then I have to have a call with Molly and Andrew, who are new clients. Those are my 3 big rocks for the day. They have timelines. They need to happen today. So those cannot be forsaken. My little sprinkles or my sand are things that either could become big rocks down the line. And so if I can accomplish them now, it's easier, or things that just keep my business humming, but they don't have to be done right away. So my big rocks were update Hanisa's portal, send the survey request for a listing, that's not due for 2 weeks from now, but I'm going to send it because I want to get off my plate. Work on my price conversation for another client. So those were some of my sand for today. And so some of those can move because they could become big rocks later on, like down the week when that appointment's really close. But if I can get my prep done now, it's much easier for me.
So let me give you the visual. If I give you a bucket and a bag of sand and a bunch of rocks, and I say, I need you to put the bag of sand and the bunch of rocks in the bucket, and you put the sand in first, there's no room for the big rocks. So you got to put the big rocks in first, and then you can fill the bucket with the sand and it will all magically work. What we as agents love to do is mess around with the sand. Let's be honest, right? If there's something else, there's, oh, shiny new object distraction. Oh, I don't want to make my call. I did that later. And we mess around with the sand, and then we look up and we never accomplish the big rocks. So when Courtney says it's about the plan and about the accountability to the plan, she's serious about it, which is why she's achieved what she's achieved.
Yep. Yeah.
Awesome. Anything else you got for us?
Just a few things I'd love to share, because I think when I remember sitting in your exact spot many years ago. And so I wish somebody would share this with me. Oh, I think I might be jumping ahead, but I
Nope,
wish
go
somebody
for it.
would have shared these things with me whenever I was an agent without this kind of camaraderie and guidance. Set expectations. Set expectations for yourself. Set expectations for your clients. So when I meet with a buyer, because we all know, or a seller, we all know that there are these things that happen. After you go and see homes, that night they go home, they talk about it, blah, 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 blah. And then they're like, oh, we want to change our price point. We want to do this and da, 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 da. So I always tell my clients, hey, these are my hours. But look, guys, I know you're going to have conversations tonight later on. If you think of something, drop me a text. I'll grab it in the morning. My phone rings, dings at whatever time, but they also know I'm not going to get back to them in the morning. totally fine, taking the pressure off of me and allows them to know they have open communication. But I've set the expectation in advance so that that way they know. Now, if someone were to tell me, well, my expectation is that we're going to talk at 8:30 at night because I never had a mother and she never talked to me. And so I want to talk to you every night at 8:30 so that that way I can feel good about my transaction. Okay, that's no problem. So I have a great agent for you. She's actually an expert in the area that you're looking for. And I'm going to pass because they've told me their expectation and it doesn't match mine. So identifying that in advance so that that way you guys can be on the same page and be aligned. I think it gives you a lot of freedom. And also remember, you are probably no good after 7 p.m. I'm no good after 7. I know that about myself. I don't need to be on a call with a client after 7 unless we scheduled it. By then you've worn down through your day. You probably started at 8 or 9. They started their workday at 9, but ended at 6. And now they're coming at you hot and heavy. Know your boundaries. Don't answer your phone. If it's on fire, there's a fire department. If it's been broken into, there's the police. If you had an option period, you calendared it and it stops at 5 p.m.
That's how you manage your day.
That's how you stay in the business.
Great. Any other tips while you're giving them? It's good.
You know, I got a whole lot, but I'm stop rolling.
So one question I didn't ask, but I think it's worth saying. Will you tell everybody, go down the line, what your DISC profile is? You all know what the DISC is, right? We deal a lot with that. So I think it'll be helpful for you guys to see how they have all achieved very great things in real estate, but their profiles are very different.
I'm high D, high I.
Bob, I need help. I know I'm a high I.
Yeah.
Just a high I, that's it. Okay, yeah, guys, I'm a high I, obviously, very extroverted.
I believe I'm an IC as well. High IC as well.
Perfect. And I am a nothing. I go across the board. Nothing is high for me. So nothing's low, nothing's high. I'm with the club, which really just means you're in no man's land. All right. So before we start opening up the floor to questions, Aaron, let me go to you. If you'd done this all over again, starting from where you started with, what would you have done different?
That's a good question. I think Courtney kind of touched on this. It's really setting those boundaries, and being transparent with clients, like upfront immediately, just about what your work schedule looks like, or when your days are off are, and just when you can be available. But also that transparency kind of blends into just letting them know the good, the bad, the ugly of any property or something like that, before you even step into the house. You set that expectation with them before that, so that they love this house. Well, they already know the bad things about it. I work up in the north, so we're very privy to flooding in the spring area. So that's the first thing I'm checking, is always has this house flooded, or where is it at in the flood zone? And if they know that up front, they have some expectations about, okay, well, we get an inspection, all these things are going to come your way. So be prepared. It's much harder to claw that back and show your expertise after the fact if you haven't really set those expectations up front. It's much more difficult.
Or Brittany, I'm coming to you for this question. Biggest challenge to managing your business at a high level. Like, what are the tools that you are utilizing now that you didn't know you needed, or that you didn't have before you started doing the production that you're doing now?
No, and that's a great question too. I would say having a transaction coordinator and a full back-end team to support me. When I am running and gunning my whole day, I'm with clients, and so I need that back-end support to take care of all that busy work so I can focus on my clients, making the calls, going out and touring, they take care of, oh, can you hear me? They take care of, all of our contracts, listing agreements, emails, compliance. The compliance is so important. So I think that would be the biggest thing for me, and all the data that we have, all the market trends that we can pull, that has helped out tremendously when we want to show our knowledge to our clients and our care.
Courtney, I'm going to come to you for this one, and this is going to seem elementary, but it's not. If you've got somebody who's interested in buyer or seller, so if you think that they're interested, what are your immediate next steps with that person? And then what are the next steps after that?
Immediate next steps. Let's get an appointment. Let's sit down for a buyer or seller strategy session. I think we all kind of shy away from that as they're like, oh, I'm not going to buy for 6 to 8 months. No problem. Let's sit down, buyer strategy session, at least get the lay of the land so you feel comfortable. So when you're ready, you're good to go.
Why are you doing that?
Because guys, the first realtor that they meet with is usually the one they go with. Most people, there are people that will interview, but that's not the case. They're just as busy as we are. Their lives are just as hectic. If they meet with you and they trust you, why go somewhere else?
Even if I'm not making a move for 6 months?
That's no problem, Paige. I'd love to chat about what your plans are, get a little at market education, put out a good strategy and plan, because as again, hope is not a strategy.
How many of you have taken the time this year to make appointments your intention? You will win and die in this business by the appointments that you will set. And I will challenge you to make sure that you are getting in front of as many people as possible and having intentional conversations in these appointments, because that is where the relationship happens.
So Paige, let me ask you a question, and to the team, when this came up a few times, there's lots of people texting. Yeah.
Shame on y'all.
Yeah.
It's silence. We're in meetings.
No, texting me, which is good. And it's from outside too on Zoom land. When somebody says, we're not looking for the next 6 months, what does 6 months really mean?
2 to 3.
2 to 3. Act on it now. Get started now. 6 months does not mean 6 months.
And they don't mean it to not be 6 months.
No, they
They
don't know.
really think it's 6 months, but what we all know statistically is that's just typically not what ends up being, right?
What's missing in your business now that the presence of would even propel you to the next level? What's missing that if it was added in, your business would grow even more? Each one of you.
Can I get a couple more hours in the day?
In lieu of being able to stretch the span of time, what would you like to have that would make even more of a difference? Because it seems like you have all the support channels in place.
For me, I'm looking to leverage my business, and it's not so much just project my business, but I'm also looking to share my knowledge. So I am looking for others that are like-minded to be associated with.
What about you?
No, I would agree with that. I think, yeah, being able to help more people, I think is amazing. And I need people that are like-minded as well. Like I said earlier, shared ambition, shared goals. There's not a lot of those out there. They're hard to find. They're little gems. And so I would like to find more people that could fit what we share now.
And one thing that came up a couple of times about you is you have a daughter. How old is she?
She's 8 years old.
8 years old.
He's the cutest little mini roofer you've ever seen.
Actually, we've seen her.
Yeah.
So in the group, how many of you have children? Big chunk of the room.
Mhm.
And with that, can you go over again how you balance that and still make your calls and still do everything necessary to be a successful real estate agent?
Yeah. To be honest, it's hard. I'm not gonna lie and say I just go every day and it's a breeze. Whether you're a parent or a single parent, it really doesn't matter. Taking care of your children comes first. My work comes second. But I seem to manage it because I'm accountable. And I've got that support system, and I know a lot of people don't, might not have that support system, whether that's grandparents or aunts or, friends to help out. But for me, I just try to dial in everyone and just have, plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D, because every day varies. I could get a call right now saying, hey, Blakely's sick at school. You need to come pick her up. Okay, who do I have on standby right now to help out with that? So again, I think it comes down to accountability. It comes down to time blocking, knowing what my days are going to look like and my weeks, and then planning ahead so I can plan for her.
So they gamify the accountability. It's true accountability. If you ever see their app, it'll show you what accountability truly is. It's no different than what you have, but having a support channel in place that's holding you accountable truly does make the difference. And what they were saying is, how many do you want to have in your support group? What did you guys say? Where you are held accountable? Just 3. It's not a big group. It's not that person that's gonna hold you back or doesn't show up. It's somebody who is accountable as well to you guys. But doing that is important. If you want to be a part of an accountability group, send me an email. Send it to michaelb@kw.com, and we'd be happy to organize you. And we will probably do it according to your disc. And if we don't have your disc, we need to have that. It is very important that we know who you are, but send me something to michaelb@kw.com. I want to be an accountability group. If you do that, you're going to be held accountable.
I would go back to what is the one thing that we need, and you all said it, is talent. The definition of talent is talent solves problems. They don't bring you problems. They solve your problems. And when you have clients, what do they want you to do? They want you to solve their problems. And so we are in desperate search of more talent for a variety of different roles, and not everybody wants to be on a team. Not everybody needs to be on a team. This is not necessarily a pitch to be on a team. But we do have a couple of different areas where we're hosts and helpers. Secondly, these folks are growing their this is woo. So there's a couple of different ways that we're looking to meet new talent, because ultimately what we all have found has been the hardest part of this is having the right folks going the right way, swimming together.
We have that same challenge here.
We're not alone. All right, what other questions do you guys have?
We have some microphones out there. You got to use a mic.
Yeah, yeah, that's very good.
Hi guys, you mentioned a lot of accountability and the right attitude. But what is the item or the activity that you guys delegate the most?
Well, you guys have a group. If you are a part of the team and people want to get into it, could you elaborate how that works about the acts that someone has to
Well,
do?
and are you asking as an agent, what are the tasks they delegate? Yeah.
So as an agent, I think if you can get someone's install a sign, install Supra, go check, I don't know, if the painters went, can you go be my eyes? If someone can send an inspection for you. So those are some of the things that we like to delegate. For a transaction coordinator, it is back-end stuff, writing amendments, those types of things. So it's the things that, can you get me down the path a bit? And things that, driving 30 minutes in the car to go install a sign, not a great idea, but maybe you sign up with Sign Boss and they do it for you. Save your time there. So as an individual agent, for us, we've have the helpers, and they can kind of help if somebody, will you go do this for me in exchange for financial? Is that?
And all of these agents have their own liaison, which is more than just a VA, where they coordinate and help run the file. A very strong list of things that need to get done to get a file to closing. It's not just, did we do these 5 things and we're good to go? We're a little more rigid on some
When they
expectations.
submit a file, it gets passed through pretty much all the time without any blemishes. Maryland just pushes it through because of the extra effort they put into them.
Well, that's how you protect your client, right? And so we also have a feeling that your compliance needs to be pushed during the option period. You can fix a lot of problems in the option period, real hard to get those things signed the day before closing. So our back-end team is looking to see where we need to be, and then we have a timeline checklist that they run and gun, so that Courtney can say to her liaison, "Hey, I need to check in on that appraiser," and so then her liaison goes and makes sure that those things are done. So almost more of an executive assistant type handhold that really helps when you're doing this level of production, because it is very difficult to do all of this and drive. Right? And every single one of you, no doubt you spend no less than 3 hours a day in the car on a good day. Just, but what other questions?
So this question can be for any one of you guys. When it comes to your buyer's presentation or seller's presentation, do you make it more just about getting to know the client themselves? Or like, what does that look like? Do you bring your graphs, your charts? Or, and when, also a follow-up question, do you also, when do you bring up the whole buyer presentation for them to sign it? Do you do it the first time you meet them, or do you wait till the second time?
That's a great question. So it could just, it really depends on kind of the interaction with the client when we come to the meeting. We are always prepared, so we have everything on deck ready to show them if they have any questions about it. But initially, we really like to get to know them, and I mean, our initial call, we ask a lot of questions. You know, we are kind of discovering who they are in our first call with them before we set that appointment. And then we travel in numbers. We bring our team with us. We want to introduce them to our team so that they don't feel like we're a one-man band or anything like that. They have that coverage. In the meeting, though, we ask a lot of questions. We like to understand what their goals are. How can we get you from A to B, and what does that look like? We have all the material ready to go, but I've been in a couple of meetings these past couple of months, and we haven't used any of it. They were just like, yeah, let's go ahead. You know, when would you like us to get started? And you're like, right now. And so, you know, in those instances, those are a rare case, but we're always prepared to bring all that stuff with us. And we usually, we talk about it throughout the entire appointment.
Just to touch on, getting them to sign the agreement. So once we leave the appointment, we immediately follow up. We send out an email template that we have prepped and prepared, whether that's a yes, a no, or a maybe for them. So we send that out, and then we tell them, hey, we're going to start working on the documents. We expect to receive them in the next 48 to 72 hours. But then again, it just depends on the client. Sometimes we have those listing documents prepped and ready to go, bringing to the appointment. And if they're ready to sign on the dot, you'll get that feeling from them.
But we
Like
don't
Jen-
work without buyer reps.
Oh, no, we're not. Oh, but that is
No.
your ticket to ride. Oh, just like at a pre-approval letter, you can't get in my car until I know you can buy.
Do
I
not
want-
tour without a pre.
Do not.
Yes.
I wanted to touch on that too, because a lot of what we do also is the meeting is about them. It's truly about them, their goals, all that. And so we will send information in advance. We like to call it silent overwhelm. So if I give you all my stats and all my data and sell you in advance, I don't have to get there and sell myself. And so then I can just ask you questions. You can talk. The whole thing I think anyone ever wants is to feel heard. And so if you can talk the same language and they feel heard by you, by the end of the appointment, they're typically ready to sign. I am also of the mindset, and this past month, I got 4 listing agreements signed by, I'm taking the paperwork. And then I've also learned to be quiet and say, would you guys like me to list your house? And I had one client come in and they're like, yep. And so we didn't need to do the song and dance. They'd already decided, and it was like, okay, let's sign. And so we signed. So knowing where they are and finding out what their expectation of the meeting is when you arrive, be prepared to go no matter where it is. If they want the song and dance, if they just want the questions, but making sure that you ask them the questions so that they can feel like they're driving.
I have a quick question. Do you guys work with a lot of out-of-state clients, buyers? Who's working with a lot of out-of-state?
Hands,
Yes,
if you,
hands, okay.
okay.
So what are you doing to get face-to-face with that client, knowing that they're out of town? Are you guys utilizing Zoom? Hopefully that is the case. I feel like that's a very underrated or underutilized form to get face-to-face with that client. Get on a 10-minute phone call and then be like, hey, let's set up a 30-minute Zoom call. Get to know you a little bit better. You can bring up your computer. We share screen. We talk through the different areas that they're interested in, the pros, the cons, the flooding, houses, go through a couple of houses. We'll set up the portal. I'll make sure to have a couple of different favorites picked out so we can chat through that, get their feedback. So I feel like if you are working with out-of-state people, you're not going to be able to see them for weeks on end. Get them on a Zoom, show your value.
And get them on a Zoom pretty regularly, not just on the phone or just text messages.
The question for the group, does anybody feel challenged getting buyer rep signed? Like how many people are like, I love getting a buyer rep signed. It's so easy. It's just the easiest. Anybody have challenges? So I want to change your mindset because I was like, they're like, get a buyer rep signed. I'm like, oh, we have love for each other. I can tell it's all going to be okay.
I'm gonna be loyal.
Yeah,
no
it's
worries.
fine. I'm not worried about it. But when I changed my mindset to realize that this is my employment agreement, and if I worked at Exxon or if I worked at Shell, I would not go into work and start working for them until I had a signed agreement that said how much money I was going to get paid, how much time I was going to get off, all of those things. It is the same thing. They did it when they got their job. They know what it's like. So when you talk to them, and I had some clients that came over from Australia. We got on a Zoom call. We talked about areas. They were looking, he's moving here because he's going to get a job at the hospital. So we talked through all that. I said, great, no problem. So here's our next steps. I'm going to send over our buyer's representation agreement. We'll need this in advance of our meeting. They're like, no problem, sure. For us, we have a fee. So we explain that we have a fee in there. No problem, got it. So they signed it right away within 24 hours because I think they were at the end of their day. No issue. So I think if you approach that buyer's representation agreement with confidence and saying, this is how you secure me and this is how you unlock me, but until you sign this, I can't be unlocked. It will give you so much power. And then also the people who say, I don't want to sign it, woo, big red flag, like the little wavy guy at the car washes. Like, yeah, leave them alone. Let somebody else tour that person around so they can go have their cousin sell them a house 2 months from now after you showed them 100 houses.
Hi, my name is Cassandra, and thank you for being here today. And also, I wanted to thank you for the emails that you send out for the opportunities to host open houses. I've done that a couple times, and I do appreciate the opportunity to, expand my business and my footprint here in Houston. And so, with that being said, I also received the emails in regards to the career opportunity with you and your team. It seems pretty intriguing. What's the best way for someone like me to find out the difference between obviously you have the open house level, you've got the associate level, and then you have the HPT. So what's the best way to find out about that? And what does your screening process look like for someone who's well on their way to success, but might be ready to kick it up a notch?
Great question. Probably
Thank you.
more than we have a ton of time for here. I would
Right.
say come find us after this and the happy hour and we'll chat about it.
Thank you.
But essentially, we have 3 levels, sort of open house hosts for people who do just want to hold open houses and which is great. We love that. We also have opportunities. We call them paid helps, so that if our agent needs a super put on the door and you've got time, and we'll pay you for the privilege of going and doing that, and you have the opportunity to meet and get to know some of our other agents. We have an associates program where it's a 30, 60, 90-day program where you will work with specifically one of these agents under them with the goal of you growing your business. The concept, what we'd like to see happen is that these associates have a path, and we think we've developed a path to get them to $5 million in sales based on our lead sources and our resources. So that's the associate program. And then for those who are on a path to 10 million or more, there is a team path for that. But everything would start at the associate level to make sure that we are a cultural fit. We care very much about our values and our culture, and not to say that we don't all share a similar culture. We're here at Keller Williams together, which is fantastic, but the way we view accountability and the way Sue views accountability may be different, and that's fine. But during the 30, 60, 90 days, we're able to really ascertain if we are a happy partnership.
All right, guys, any other questions? Of course. It would be all the way up front.
I'll just give her this one. I'll just give her this one. Yeah. Exercise.
Hello? How do you handle commission conversations?
Yeah, I like to talk about money. So my commission conversation with the seller is, my fee is 3% plus XYZ. What would you like to offer the buyer's agent? And then dynamic silence.
And no, commissions are not set. Our agents decide what they charge.
She says, I charge,
Mhm.
not this group charges, right? If you were in the team meeting, critically important, especially in today's environment. We just got done paying a $70 million payout over this. So she charges 3%. What would you like to pay the buyer's agent? What would you like to pay? Then she's probably going to go a little deeper as to why we want to pay the buyer's agent what we want to pay them. But she offers that. That is excellent response.
And Courtney, will you talk a little bit, because that is the language that we use across the board, what the feedback is from the sellers when they say, what would you like to pay the buyer's agent?
Well, some people say, well, I thought it was 6%. I was like, well, you can offer the buyer's agent whatever you'd like. A lot of times we do see 3%. We see 2.5. I've seen 2. You can offer them nothing. It's up to you. And then they, of course, they go, well, what do you think we should do? So, well, you guys decide where you would like to go. And look, and they decide to do like, they're like, we want to try 2.5.
Let me role play this.
Okay.
Right? These guys role play all the time. She's gonna destroy me. So hey, I think you would be a great fit to sell my home.
Fantastic. Let's talk about commissions. Is that okay?
Sure.
Fantastic. So my fee is
So I've heard some stuff recently in the news that we really don't have to pay anybody. So how do we do this?
no
Go.
problem. I know, and there's been a lot of stuff going on in the news lately, hasn't there?
I've heard some stuff.
Yeah. So my fee is 3% plus a $4.95 transaction fee. What would you like to offer the buyer's agent?
495 transaction fee.
Yeah.
That's the fee that we charge to sell a house.
Mhm.
Okay. Should we let her off easy on that? Oh, look at the. Tell me a little bit about this it is $495.
Yep, so that's for the back end support that we're gonna have throughout your transaction, so you'll feel held all throughout the process. It's not just myself, but it's also what we call our success team. So they handle our paperwork and compliance, and they're gonna keep us on track.
I've got to pay someone else to do paperwork on this transaction.
Michael, nobody ever goes that far.
Michael,
And
nobody
if
ever-
they do,
Am I being too hard?
the
Yeah.
deal is,
If they do, I know that's
those
not
are
my
red
person.
flags, right? Red flags are, I don't want to pay you what you were valued.
Red flag means you're gonna also ask me for money in the transaction. So
That's
if you
right.
push too hard, it doesn't matter.
Right. That's exactly right.
I don't know if I'm ready to give up just yet.
Well, do you want to get to the buyer's agent, Michael, or do you want to wait till
Let's go to the
tomorrow?
buyer's agent. How much do I have to pay them?
You don't have to pay them anything.
If I pay them nothing, what happens?
Well, there's a couple things that could happen.
Okay.
We could have less showings. We could have a buyer
We will
pushback.
have less showings, guys.
We could, but also we may not. We could have agents push back, and if we get some commentary about it, I can relay that to you, and you can always change it later on.
Okay.
But also, please note that that buyer has an agreement with their buyer's agent that they have agreed to pay a commission to. So if you choose not to offer a commission to that buyer's agent, which is no problem, that buyer is now going to have more out-of-pocket fees that they have to pay as part of their closing cost. And that, Mr. Seller, may affect what they are willing to offer you. Because there's only so much money that that buyer likely has, because they're paying closing costs for their lender. They're now paying a buyer's agent cost. They're paying a surveyor. They're paying an inspector. All of this is fine and normal and reasonable. But if we choose not to offer compensation to that buyer's agent, it's going to fall to that buyer to do. And I just want to make sure you're prepared for what the ramifications of that decision may be.
Who wishes they would have had their phone recording this right now? By the way, Chris, if you can hear this, are we recording this? Okay. So we have this on record. You guys will have this. I knew we already had a recording. Very good. Any other questions, guys? Yes.
Let's continue on the commissions. Let's say you have these clients that they tell you, you know what, okay, you're gonna be selling my home, but we're gonna buy something else. Can we do something better? That's one of the scenarios. And then you have these other people that say, oh, I can get an agent who can give me back part of your commission.
Run away.
You know.
Yeah, rebate.
Run away.
What do you think this team's response is going to be to doing a rebate?
But if
No,
they tell you on the front end that you're a purse or a wallet, which is if they tell you I can get an agent down the street, XYZ is going to do it for a flat fee, that tells you that they don't value the guidance. And so you can either choose to be Burger King, make their Whataburger sandwich and give it to them, or you can be a steakhouse and say, nope, sorry, I'm full service, and that's okay. I'm happy to refer you to another agent, or sure, go see Sue down the street. She'll do it for a low price. You are in control of who you do business with, and you need to decide what your value is. other people don't decide it for you.
Let me take this a little further. Paige, in the last several meetings that she's had with us over the last several years, and I'm so grateful that you've committed to do this for us and to continue to do it for us. Thank you. Has been talking about commission compression. Compression is, hey, it's getting more squeezed. It's getting more squeezed. Yet when we pull up what their team gets, it's almost always 3%. It's almost always 3%. So they have not been showing that their commissions are getting compressed. They're showing value. And we're seeing the $495 fee as well because of the value that they offer, because they practice scripts. How often do you guys do script practice? Once a week, once a month?
Once a week.
Once a week.
Yeah,
Once a
but we're
week,
on-
but we're on it Tuesday through Thursday. So typically all of us try to join the morning Zoom meetings just to see everyone else perform and get feedback. So, but we each go once a week.
Yep, we have script practices Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It's a standing 8:30 appointment. We've divided the team up into different silos. So 3 people practice or 4 people practice one day, 3 on the other. And so that we go through whatever we're working on. That changes. Sometimes we're on seller scripts, sometimes we're on buyer scripts, sometimes we're on commission scripts, sometimes we're talking about how to list during the holidays. It just really rotates depending on what the market is and what is the language that we need to be practicing. We are not practicing scripts so we can sell something to somebody. We are practicing scripts because sometimes we get stuck in our own head and we don't have the words to say what is in our heart. The definition of sales is helping people make wise decisions. Joe Williams taught us that. The definition of sales is helping people make wise decisions. If you will do that, then your script practice is not about selling you something. It is about internalizing my value.
Joe Williams is the Keller Williams, and he spent the night at their house after a party. He's
He's a wonderful man. He is he not?
So much fun. Oh my God, if I could put him in my pocket.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Finally had half his skills. He's amazing.
So script practice, who would participate in regular script practice at the office? Yeah. If it's good enough for them, guys, don't you think it's also good enough for you? And being able to respond with the appropriate answers, what we do at Toastmasters, right? That is a practice of a script. It happens to be a speech or table topics, but it's practicing being able to speak eloquently at the right time, at the right moment, without the uhs or the uns or the ams. That's what it's about. And that's why we have Toastmasters. By the way, we have the #1 Toastmasters group in the state right now. More people are participating every week in that because they want to get better. Now, being able to move that over into script practice for real estate, we can certainly do that at Toastmasters, but being in an accountability group where you guys have a series of questions already laid out for you and saying, okay, how would you respond? How would you respond? That's why I grilled on the 495, because I know they're going to be able to articulate that position. It's not an easy one to throw out there, right? It's not an easy thing to say. By the way, in addition to 3%, I charge, but they've already rehearsed that time and time again. That's what we need to be doing as a company, and that's what you need to be doing if you're going to continue to grow in this market.
We've got a sign-up sheet right here. It's a whiteboard. We'll just.
Let me throw out a question for you guys, out of the blue. Who here would like to participate in regular script practice to enhance your career as a real estate agent? Oh my gosh, look at all those hands.
Love that.
I love doing this.
Like you will all get an email.
All right, I know we're getting short on time. If I can throw it back to the panel, one last any last pieces of wisdom before we have happy hour, and then I've got one more thing for you guys, and then we'll have a short break. Is that okay?
That sounds great.
Fantastic. All right. So last, we can go to the 2 emotions, but one last parting words of wisdom of what you would want them to know if they were starting at $2 million to take a step forward. What would be the one piece of advice you would give?
Care. You just really need to have that care for the clients. You're out for their best interest and not yours. I think when you have that mindset shift, just to really wanting to be providing that top level service, you're going to see a massive blast off in like your business, your ability to say no to certain clients that are not a good fit for you. Because you just have a different level that you're willing to bring to the table that other agents cannot bring.
I would say get outside of your comfort zone. Get comfortable being uncomfortable. Like the script practices, it's going to feel very weird at first over time. Even we all get nervous still, we're all being judged by our peers, but we're learning and we're growing. So get outside your comfort zone. You'll see the rewards over time if you stay consistent. And even another example would be send videos to your clients. How awkward does that sound? Sending a video of yourself. I will tell you, it's a purpose to follow up with them. It's a reason to connect with them. So send a birthday text if you know their birthday. Hey, just thinking about you, wanted to send you a birthday text, a congratulatory. Invite them to an event, a happy hour, whatever you need to do to find a reason to get in front of their face and let them know that you care and that you're thinking about them.
Yeah, that's a tough one. My thing would be elevate the people that you surround yourself with. And so if you're surrounding yourself with people who aren't doing what you want to do, break out from those people, get out of that comfort place, go seek those people that are what you want to be. While you will fake it till you make it for a minute, that's how you're going to see that's who I can be. That's how you're going to start to believe in yourself, and that's how you're going to break through.
I have a question about the first answer, care. I'm a high I, high S, so care is the one thing that I do the most, and I love it. But the problem is time consuming. How can you care and show that you care without spending millions of hours with one single person?
A great question. Aaron, it's all you.
That's a great question, but it goes back to what I touched on earlier about being transparent. If you can set these boundaries up front with your initial meeting with them and let them know, you're not like what everybody else had said at the panel, like you're not available after a certain time. There's still care there. You're still being attentive, but you're also managing your schedule and letting them know, like, I have a life that I need to live myself, but I'm here for you.
How you kindly close a conversation? Like they're just talking and talking and talking. I just kindly say, shut up.
I got you. I got you.
The Heidi
Let the
got
Heidi,
Heidi's
let
way
the
to
Heidi
do it.
help you. Let the Heidi help you. First, I will say giving hours and hours and hours and hours of your time is not care, because if you spend so much time with them, at the end, how do you feel? You're empty, right?
Yes.
So if you're empty, you have nothing else left for anyone else. And that means you get to do one deal until you're done with that person. And then is that care for someone else that you could have helped? So think of it differently. Also, when you're meeting a client, think about, do they care for me? So someone who is willing to take all of that time and be a vampire time sucker, they don't care for you either. And would you choose to be around them otherwise? Probably not. Also, you can also say to somebody, hey, no problem, happy to hop on a call. I got about 15 minutes and I got to hop. You can set parameters, or you can also send a calendar invite. So with my clients, what I love to do is I like to say, hey, let's hop on a call. Let me know if this time, or this time will work. So I give them 3 different times. And then I send a calendar invite, and it may be for 15 minutes. It may be for 30 minutes, but I set the expectation with the calendar invite that you get this much time.
All right, very good. I want to make sure you guys have time to drink.
Oh, wait, hold on. Before we go there, we have negotiated with some partners of ours a discounted car lease and free electricity for realtors. So if anyone is interested and your car lease is coming up, or you're tired of paying heavy gas bills, I mean, I'm a gas guzzler, so I mean, it's different for me. I'm an Exxon baby, but whatever. If you are really looking for ways to manage your expenses, and guys, as you're starting out, when you are a agent that is growing your business, managing your expenses is key. This is a resource that we have for you. So if it's of interest to you, we wanted to provide it. We don't get anything from it, but we wanted to provide it to you guys if it's helpful. So that's all we got. Thank you guys. We appreciate it. Love being here.
Before you guys go, I want to bring you guys up. Leslie and JW.
Do you all, can everybody hear me?
No, they've got
Oh,
they can't hear you.
can y'all hear me? Okay, well, y'all are going to hear me really loud. So I'm going to bring one of these over here. I'm going to actually give you another answer to the question because I loved yours. but I'm from the South. So you say, now I'm going to let you go, honey. And that gets you out of everything. So my name is Leslie. I'm a super home warranty, and I have laid a QR code at a couple of spots around the room. So what we're going to do is we're going to play a fun little game, and I promise I won't keep you long because I already opened a bottle of wine, and so did JW. We've been waiting on y'all. So scan that, add my contact to your phone, and send me a text with your name, because video, I'm a huge video person. So I will be giving this away after JW speaks. It has a ring light and a microphone, because background noise will make that really sweet video you just sent a really terrible video. So this is a great tool to use in your real estate business, because eyeballs sell. The more they see your face, the more they're going to buy. Now that you're seeing my face and you know I'm going to send you a video, then let me tell you a little bit about Super. I know you guys are pretty familiar with Super in general. We're a technology company, so we approach things a little bit differently. I want to live in your phone. I want you to follow me on Instagram, and I want you to use me as a resource for your clients. What that means is, traditionally, home warranty companies, a major pain point is what? They don't pay for anything. You can't get them on the phone. Anything? I mean, y'all are in real estate. What's your no pain points with home warranty. They don't cover anything. Unknown pre-existing conditions. All the things. So one thing you may not know about Super is we were founded by the cutest little man you have ever met in your life. His name is Jory. Don't tell him I said he's a little man. He's about 5 foot nothing. Weighs about 80 pounds. And I could just wrap him up and put him in my purse and take him with me. He is so cute. But he came from a tech background. He had the crappiest experience with home warranty you could ever imagine when he bought his wife their very first home. And he said, I got about $200 million in the bank from selling my technology company. And I had this terrible home warranty experience because why? He couldn't get anybody on the phone. He didn't know what was going on. They weren't covering anything. So what he did
Is that not
was,
normal behavior?
I'm sorry?
That sounds like pretty typical behavior for it.
Not for Super, because we don't have home warranty people running our company. We have tech people. So all the things on your phone right now, who has the Uber app on their phone? Yeah. Who has Amazon? DoorDash, baby. I got DoorDash. I watched that little truck come right to my house, and I am like opening that door, scaring that man, because I want those fajitas, baby. And so all of those things are a technological solution to a problem that existed. So what Jory and Ryan and all the other little cutie patootie nerds that founded the company did is they created a solution that is a technology focused solution for home warranty. So if you have questions or ever want to connect with me directly, you now have my phone number living in your phone. So text me, call me, email me, send me a direct message on Instagram. And I will pick, after JW finishes, I'll give you all a chance to text me your names. We'll pick somebody to win this so you can all record video afterward.
All right, JW.
Oh,
They'll get them passed around. If y'all scan them in, pass them down and around so everybody can get involved. I mean, I don't know how I'm supposed to follow that or follow this amazing panel. What I will say is y'all have learned a lot today about how to grow your business, and picking the right partners is one of the best ways to do that. I could easily come up here and say, oh, pick Allied. We're the best. We offer the best service. Everybody can do it. That's easy. What I can say is I'm going to help you grow your business. We take pride and we want to help you. We have come up with client retention programs. We have come up with mailer programs. We have come up with mobile closings that we don't charge for, that we've done now in over 30 countries. I want to make your life easier. I want to make your client's life easier. So I can give you the spiel of everything else of, hey, we do this, we do that. It's all the same. It's all the same. So let me make your life easier. Let me help you grow. We have a lot of great plans that our client experience team has come up with. I don't want to go over them all today. Leslie did an amazing job talking about hers. I don't want to talk about 14 different things. So we'll do this. Take out your phones. I know you're all scanning this in right now. So let's all pull up a text message. Let's put this number into our text message. 833-900-1999. And I want you to text the words "call me" to that if you're interested in me helping you grow your business. If you are, great. If not, guess what? You're going to see a lot more of me, and we'll get there eventually. I'm okay with it. If you're interested in the softest t-shirts that anybody knows, I know Paige has a couple of them. I know she's worn them. Let me know. We'll get you t-shirts. If you want to have a fun environment that you close in, if you want to have a company that's responsive, that works 24 hours, text, call me. I will be happy to give you a call. It will be for me. It won't be automated. You're not subscribing to some text plan that you're going to get spammed and bombarded with. You're going to get one message. It's going to let you know, hey, thank you for sending this. I will be calling you. And now we will let Leslie. No, oh, I got to stall a little bit more. All right, if I got to stall a little bit more, I see a fellow, real quick, then I see a fellow alum, so I just got to give a dogs up real quick because I see a fellow HBU alumni in the house. That's right, dogs up. We were at HBU the same time. She was volleyball there.
Okay. Just pick somebody.
Is that, oh, wait, it was Candace? Oh, gosh, they keep moving that one.
I know.
What's that?
Oh, I don't, is that, yes.
Okay.
It's HCU. Yes, we changed it now. I apologize. Oh, really? Y'all doing this to me? And I know why. I know why you did it too. All right, so y'all, please forgive me for this. Candace? Did I get that right? You are the winner. Fantastic.